you're running Facebook ads to your Framer site, you're probably losing around 30 to 40% of your conversion data right now and you don't even know it. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that by setting up the Facebook Conversions API. No developer needed, no Google Tags Manager, no complicated server setup. Just full Facebook Conversions API tracking running on your Framer website so you can track every website interaction back to the exact campaign, ad set, and ad level. First, let me explain what we're setting up and why it matters. If you're only using the Facebook pixel right now, you're probably only tracking around 60 to 70% of your actual conversions on your website. iOS privacy updates, ad blockers, and browser restrictions all block your pixel from firing, which means Facebook's algorithm is optimizing with incomplete data. This leads to two problems. Firstly, your ads cost more because Facebook can't find the right people, and secondly, you're probably killing campaigns that are actually profitable because the numbers look worse than they really are. Facebook's Conversions API fixes this by sending event data directly from your server to Facebook, completely bypassing the browser. More data to Facebook means better optimization, lower costs, and more accurate reporting. The problem though is that setting up the Conversions API is normally complicated, you need a developer, or you're messing around with Google Tags Manager and state configurations, or super expensive solutions. And that's exactly why I built PixelFlow. It gives you both Pixel and Conversions API tracking together with automatic deduplication, so Facebook counts everything correctly, no duplicates, just better coverage. And you can set it all up in about 10 minutes. So let's take a look at how to set this up.
Let's do this.
First of all, create an account on the PixelFlow website. And once you've created an account, you'll see this page. So you can choose your platform, select Framer, click Next, enter your website name, choose your currency if you sell anything on your website. If not, you can just leave it blank and click on Next. Now, this is where we connect the Conversions API to your website. So for pixel name, you can enter any pixel name. We'll just call it my pixel. Pixel ID, this is what you'll find in your Events Manager. So log into your Facebook Events Manager, click on Datasets, select your pixel here, and down here you'll see you have your dataset ID. So you can click to copy it to the board and paste it in there. The next thing you need is your CAPI access token. So to get this, you just go back to your Events Manager, click Settings, scroll down, and in this section, you'll see Set up Direct Integration, and it says Set up with Dataset Quality API. Click on Generate Access Token. Click Generate Access Token, and it's going to give you a key. You can copy this key and paste it into this section here. And click Next. Now, the next part is to install the script on Framer. So this is actually quite simple. All you need to do is click Copy, or just highlight it all, right-click and copy. In Framer, load your website and click the top right corner here, Settings. And in Settings, you'll see an option for Custom Code. So in Custom Code, click this little button here, which is the plus icon. Call it PixelFlow script. For the placement, select End of Head. Page, leave all, Run, leave selected once, and just paste your code in there. Now, once you've done that, click on Add. Publish your website. And once you've published it, the PixelFlow script will be running on your site. Once we've done that, just interact with your website in Framer. Click on a couple of pages. Go back to PixelFlow, click on Next. It's testing the setup to see if we've received events, and we should see confetti once it's received events to confirm that it's all set up properly. Now, as you can see, it shows status connected. You can click into your events page, and you'll see all of the detailed events that are being recorded on your website. So as you can see, these are currently all page views, and obviously we'll want to track more than just page views. So I'll show you exactly how to set that up now. To track a new event other than page views on your Framer website, click the Track More Events button. And in here, it lets you choose what type of event you'd like to track. So do you want to track e-commerce, forms, button clicks, page loads? So these are the different ways that you can trigger events on your Framer website. Let's take a look at forms, for example. So if you select Forms and click on Next, it walks you through step by step how to track when somebody submits a form. So let's open this up in our existing Framer site and we'll take a look. So I'm going to go to my contact form in Framer and we'll take a look at this specific form and we'll use a lead event. So the first step is to add one extra script in Framer, and once you've done this, you'll be able to just select any button or element and just choose the event from a drop-down link. So I'll show you how to set that up now. So in the help documentation here, it shows you event classes on Framer. Looks really complex, but again, it's actually very simple. All you need to do is copy this huge code snippet, and I'll have the link to this in the description, but copy the code snippet, go into your Framer site, click any element, and down in the right-hand corner here, you'll see there's an override section. So if you click on File and New File, let's call it PixelFlow, and click on Create, It's going to put in lots of information here. Delete it all. Paste. That's now got the PixelFlow tracking script, which will let you click any element and select what event you want to trigger. So now you can see if we go back to our form, there's a code override section here. You can select the PixelFlow file and choose the override. For a simple button click, all you do is click on the button, select the override. So we'll call it, let's say, a lead event. So there's lead. Anytime a button is clicked, it's going to submit a lead event. Forms are slightly different in that there's one extra step. All you need to do for a form is click the form, so the overall element, and use the override of form container so that the PixelFlow script knows there's a form here, and we're going to track the button click only when it's successfully submitted. Once you've added the form container, you can also track all these different elements inside there too. So you could track the customer's full name, email address. If you had phone number, you could also track those. All you do is click into the box, select the input that it is. So for full name, this is form name input. For email address, it's form email input. And as you can see, we have the submit button as a lead event. What this will do is anytime somebody submits this form, it's going to submit a lead event, capture the person's name and email address, and send it as an event to Meta with a higher event match quality score because we're capturing the user's name and email address along with lots of other information too in the background. And I'll show you what that looks like now. Let's submit an email through this form and see what information is captured and sent along with the event to Meta. So I'm going to put in my name, email, and send. Now if we go back to my PixelFlow events page, I can see that I have all these different events. I have the page view, and now I have the contact event. So I actually changed this to a contact event on my form rather than a lead event, just because it makes more sense. So if I click into the event, I have contact. I can see all of the information that's been captured. So for this particular event, we've captured email, name, city, state, zip code, country, external ID, IP address, user agent, FPP, and currency. All of this information has been sent along with the event to Meta to maximize the potential event match quality score. You can also see the advanced breakdown, which is the full JSON payload. This is exactly what's sent to Meta, the more technical side of it. You can scroll through that and look at it if you'd like, but as you can see, all of the information just as a whole in the overview format is there. You can also see the traffic source too. For example, here's an event and you can see the traffic source, campaign name, ID, ad set, ad name, and medium. So you can see every event and exactly where it came from down to the actual ad level. So that's how to track forms and button clicks on Framer. Let's say you want to track when somebody loads a page on your Framer website, like a custom thank you page, and you want to trigger a lead event on that page. I'll show you that next. So triggering an event to Meta when somebody loads a specific page on your Framer website is super simple. All you do is go into the event URL section and click on add URL. What this does is it lets you select a page on your website, choose the event, and that page will trigger an event anytime a user visits the page. Let's say, for example, on the PixelFlow website, I want to have a thank you page, and perhaps this is let's say it's a lead event. We can assign a value to that lead event if we'd like to. So maybe we're selling something, the person gets redirected to a thank you page, and it's worth like $99, for example. We can add that URL, but there's a couple of extra features here too. So the first is that we can block duplicate events on page reload. So if somebody's like refreshing the page or they revisit the page again from the same computer, we can ensure that that event only triggers once in whatever the time frame is here. So it just stops additional events being triggered anytime the same person visits the same page on the same computer. The other thing you can see here is extract data from URL parameters. So if you have an integration with Calendly, for example, and somebody is booking a call on your website through a Calendly form, what Calendly can do is it can redirect the user back to a specific page, like a thank you page, and they will add lots of extra information to that URL. So what Calendly does is they will add in like the person's name, email address, their phone number, and they'll add all of that information into the URL. What PixelFlow can do is, if you select this option, you can tick the box, put in an example of the URL. Let's say as an example, this is what somebody would get to in one of the custom URLs that Calendly would redirect somebody to. If you click on next, it'll let you take all of those parameters from the URL, and this is dynamically updated anytime somebody visits the page and the actual parameters are different. We're just mapping parts of the URL to actual parameters that we're going to assign to the payload. Sounds very technical, but all it means is if we're using an integration like Calendly, We can take information from the URL about the person, add it into the event, and send it off to Meta too. It's very simple to set up. Once it's set up, you don't have to do it again. It's all fully automated. So that's how to set up forms, button clicks, and page loads in Framer to trigger an event to Meta. Let's look at e-commerce events too, because you might have e-commerce events in your Framer site and you want to trigger those in Meta too. So if you click on Track More Events, select e-commerce, and then choose what event you'd like to track. Let's take a look at purchase as an example. So if you select purchase and click on next, you can choose if you'd like to trigger the purchase event on button click or page load. So if it's page load, again, you can just trigger that using an event URL. Let's choose button click. So if you select button click, you can see we need to have this code override installed, which we already have down here. You can see file PixelFlow. So because we have that code override installed, we can select any button. If you click on the button here, you can see initiate checkout is the override that we've had here. So that's going to trigger an initiate checkout event to Meta whenever this button is clicked. If you click on next, there's more options too. So let's say you want to also add price, quantity, or the SKU. Let's say price as an example. So if we want to track the price and send that information along with the event to Meta, very simple. All we do is go to the page that we're tracking the price on, select the price element, scroll down, and in the file overrides, we select PixelFlow, and the override is product price. Once that's selected, publish the changes, go back to PixelFlow and click on next. And you can see there's two more small steps that we have to follow. So the first thing is we have to highlight the container that has the price. So if you can see in Framer, this box here, when I click here, this is the container for the overall section that we're tracking price on. We're also tracking quantity and the SKU there. So there's the SKU, and we have product ID selected for that. Quantity, we have product quantity there. So let's select the overall section that contains all of those, which is there. Now the code override that we need to select for that one is product list total price, as you can see from the instructions here. So we've done that. The last thing we need to do is the product list container. So the overall section, select the overall section that contains everything, and that's product list container. So those two steps just tell the PixelFlow script, here's the product price, here's the quantity, here's the SKU, and here's the checkout button that we want to trigger and collect all this information and send it to Meta as an event. Once you've done that, click on complete and you're all done. Now you can trigger an event and see it in real time, check your events log, and you'll be able to see all the data that's been collected. So let's take a look. As you can see, I've triggered an initiate checkout event. It's come from this URL. If I click in to view the event, we can see all of the information that's been tracked, along with currency, value, the number of items, the product ID, which is the SKU, quantities, and the price of the item too. So we've added all that information just by tagging that information in Framer, and that's automatically collected on that product page. The last thing to show you is the event blocking rules. So I'll show you these really quickly. If you click on add rule in the event blocking rules section, this is a series of options of when events should not fire on your website. So there's certain situations, they might be edge cases, they might be more common use cases. There's a list of different options here that you can use to select when an event should not trigger. The most common ones are block if same session. So you don't want a lead event to be triggered by the same user in a user session once within, let's say, like 24 hours. So for example, if you were triggering an event, a lead event on a page whenever somebody gets to a thank you page, for example, you don't want somebody refreshing that page to create two lead events. So this blocking rule will just ensure that that same person can only trigger that event once every 24 hours. Another useful one in some situations is block duplicate meta tracking scripts. In certain scenarios, you might have something like Google Tags Manager or the Facebook Pixel or some other tracking code that's meta related on your website, but you don't really know where it is. Somebody else set it up for you and you can't figure it out. What this does is, as long as PixelFlow is installed on your website and it's the first script that's being loaded, we can block external tracking, which makes sure that only PixelFlow triggers your Pixel and your Conversions API together. And because of that, we assign the same event ID to the Pixel and to the Conversions API, so you get perfect event deduplication. If you have other Pixels being loaded, or you have extra scripts like Google Tags Manager that's loading your Pixel, those will be creating additional events which you don't want polluting your Events Manager. So this option is useful if you have a script, you don't really know where it is, but you know that you're getting duplicates firing. You can enable this and PixelFlow will block other tracking scripts from firing events to Meta. Before we wrap up, let's take a quick look at the Events Manager and run some test events so you can see the events going to Meta in real time and see exactly the data that's being sent to Meta. So to do that, you go into your data set in Facebook, click on test events, and then if you click here, confirm your server's events are set up correctly. If you copy this code here, go into your PixelFlow dashboard and then select your pixel, click edit, turn on test mode, and paste that in there. So what that's going to do is, in around 60 seconds, your script will update, and then any events that come from your website will go straight to the test events tab in Facebook. This lets you see a stream in real time of your actual events flowing into your metadata set. So let's go to our website, refresh the page, and we should see events coming in here in real time. So the first one we can see is page user coming in. It has 2 page views from the server. They both have different event IDs, so those are 2 separate page views. You can see all of this information that's been collected automatically: country, city, external ID, browser ID, IP address. We have another page views come through there. State, user agent, and zip code. So all that information is automatically collected in PixelFlow no matter what for each event. Let's try and create a e-commerce event and see all the information that comes in there too. So here's an e-commerce event. It's come in server side. If we look at the information, we can see it's got the value, currency, the type of content, the SKU, quantity, item price. It's come from the website, and we also have all of that information has been collected too. So all that information has been collected automatically by PixelFlow for the purchase, sent to Meta, and that's going to have a very high event match quality score because it has so much information in there. Now we could increase that event match quality score also by collecting the user's email address, their phone number, and any additional information too. So what can you expect now that you got proper conversions API tracking running? Well, the biggest thing that you notice is that your conversions actually show up in your ads manager. Most users see around 25 to 40% increase in tracked conversions. So the same traffic, same ads, but you just have more complete data in your ads manager. That matters because when Facebook has better data, it optimizes better. In some scenarios, people have seen their ROAS improve by 2 to 3x after switching to conversions API tracking. The same ads, the same budget, just better data going into your ads manager. You'll also see your event match quality scores improve in your events manager too. So that's Facebook's measure of how well it can match your events to real users. And with server-side data, those scores just go up because you're sending more, cleaner, more reliable information. So the best part of all this is that PixelFlow handles all of this automatically. There's no server maintenance, there's no updates to worry about, no ongoing development costs, no worrying about Google Tags Manager or paying a developer. It's all just fully automated once you have it set up. So that's it. That's how to set up professional grade Facebook conversions API tracking on your Framer website. If you want to try this out, head to pixelflow.so. There's a free trial, no credit card needed. Link is in the description.